shows that we ain't gonna stand shit. Shows that we are united. Shows that we ain't gonna take it.
They are two-time world champions, Olympic silver medalists, five-time Canadian national champions, and they train in St. Leonard. We're talking about Canadian pair skaters Meagan Duhamel and Eric Radford. They're just back from winning the Finlandia trophy in Finland. Welcome. Congratulations to you both. That's absolutely beautiful what you do out there. What do you think when you're watching that? Do you watch it the way we do, or you're thinking, oh, I shouldn't have done that with my leg? Or like, what do you see when you see that?
I think initially we would be critical about what we did because we always know what our potential is. So when we watch something, it's like, oh, I could have done that better, or that was a really good one, but this could have been better, because we're always striving to.
But don't you look at that and think, wow, that was really good?
What's funny
Sometimes.
Is, watching that, I can see the improvement we've made since that time. You know, that was almost a year ago, and already when I look at, just that lift and that throw, we can do it a lot better now. So it's nice to know that we can keep on improving like that.
So you just won in Finlandia, and you were saying that it's a start to a long season. So what does that mean for you now, going into the next few months?
Yeah, our season's just starting to pick up. We start our Grand Prix season next week. We're attending the Skate Canada Grand Prix, which is in Mississauga next week. And then we go to Japan at the end of November for the Grand Prix in Japan.
Oh, I know some good restaurants.
And then the Grand Prix final will be held in Marseille in December, and that's a new place that we've never been, so it'll be exciting to visit something like that. Then we have the Canadian Nationals in January, the Four Continents in February, the World Championships in March, and then in April there's the World Team Championships where we compete as a country as Team Canada.
So are you still training, or are you still developing your routine? Like, what are you doing now in between the competitions?
We usually get our new programs in the summer, and then throughout the season it's constant improvement and constant sort of polishing. We also added a new element into our short program this season, the throw triple axel. We've been doing the throw quad for a while, but it's not allowed in the short program, so in order to get more points, we have to do the throw triple axel, which is the most difficult throw triple that you can do. And from the beginning to the end of the season, there's huge improvements that take place, but it happens in very small steps. And that's what we're doing day in and day out up in St. Leonard.
So you've been together for 5 years. Is it, and you've had a different partner before, do you know right away when you start that, oh, this is it, this is going to work?
I think that sometimes this is the case. The first time Eric and I skated together was actually terrible, like absolutely terrible. We couldn't do very much, and we got off the ice and we were like, okay, this is probably not going to work. And then one of our coaches, Bruno Marcotte, looked at us and he was like, okay, it's a go. And we were both kind of like, what's wrong with you? Did you not watch that?
So is it because somebody watching you has a better idea of what's possible than?
I think so.
I think a coach has more of like a bird's eye view and can see the potential even though we may not have felt it that time. But something that's funny is in the past with my old partners, doing the throw jumps where I throw Meagan and she lands were always difficult. And the very first time that I threw Meagan, she landed perfectly, and I remember almost jumping for joy and being like, wow, like it wasn't me. I always thought it was my fault that my partner couldn't land. But
now, you're vegan. I've always thought that athletes had to eat so much protein and so much meat. Is that not true then?
I think it's important to have a well-rounded diet, but actually since becoming a vegan, I probably eat twice as much protein as I ever did when I ate meat, and I eat very good quality protein from other sources. So, I had to invest myself. I studied holistic nutrition, and I learned a lot over the years that's helped me develop a very well-balanced diet, but it's definitely possible to get
Is she trying to convert you?
a lot of protein.
I've learned a lot. I've learned a lot from Meagan's studies and stuff, and I've tried a lot of different things I would have never even imagined existed.
I'm curious about you though, Eric, because you came out at the height of your career. Most people, when they come out, it's usually at the end of their career, or when. Was this a difficult decision for you, or?
It's kind of one of those things where I feel like everything was just the way it needed to be for me to be comfortable in order to make that decision. And it was before we became, before we won our first world title. And I feel like I just felt comfortable with who I was, and I was ready to make that decision.
Was it like a
and
weight off?
It was, and I find that during our performances, I think from that moment, I've just been able to feel more myself, more relaxed. And I also feel really lucky that I get to use my success as a skater to set a good example for other young gay athletes.
You know, thank you both so much for coming in. I have like a whole bunch of other questions I'd like to ask you, so you're going to have to come back. So if you can
Perfect.
find time between your competitions to come back, especially maybe after the one in Japan, because I'd love to hear.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay. Thank you so much for coming in.
having
Thank
us.
you.
We'll be right back.